Hello everybody, Steve here, and today we have these disc detainer locks that I want to look at with you guys. And so I hope I don't take too long with this. Hopefully the video doesn't go too long, but the main thing that I want to do is to show off this cutaway, and I want to pick it on camera. So stick around for all that, because it'll be pretty kind of neat to see all this work. So, short story quick, I guess, or whatever. I recently just started picking disc detainer locks and kind of just starting to learn, and there's only been a couple of them that I've been able to open so far that I don't have very many of them anyway. So anyway, and also the Lockpicker 1969 has just gotten started in trying to pick these disc detainer locks and trying to learn them. And I got a message from him the other day asking me if I would be willing to take one of these locks and do a cutaway for him. And I said I would love to. I didn't see where it would be too difficult to do, but he said he would. I told him I would do it, and he said he asked, or then he decided to go ahead and order a pair of these Unity disc detainer padlocks. So normally when usually when you order these, you can get them as a pair that are keyed alike, and so he found these two. These are Unity disc detainer padlocks. They're 50 millimeters wide, and it has the long shackle on it. And so these are both keyed the same, so I would say that they're brothers. Anyway, and also this one has definitely been untouched, and you might have recognized this from the other day when I did an out-of-pocket pick with this one, and then this one I turned it into a cutaway. And when I messaged Lockpicker 1969 saying that I did finish it and ready to send it back to him, he told me that if I wanted to do a video on this guy, then I could go ahead and do it. So we're going to take a look at this Unity disc detainer padlock, the cutaway padlock. And so this is a Lockpicker 1969's project that he had me do, and we're going to take a good look at this today. So anyway, without further ado, and spending 3 minutes blabbering about this, kind of giving an introduction, let's go ahead and take a look at this. And this does work, as you can see, and these are both keyed the same, like I said, and they both do work, obviously. And the next thing that I would like to point out is, even though these are 50 millimeters, the ones I had done before, they're actually 40 millimeters, and the ones I was screwing around with, and they have the same discs and the same little cylinder thing and all that kind of stuff, so we can use that as a reference for this. But anyway, so what I want to try and do is set this up with my little inspection camera to try and get a good shot of the inside of this thing. And I got this little tiny vise to kind of hold it, because I tried to do this video before and I was having a difficult time trying to keep this in frame and trying to hold it and pick it, and it just not very easy. And then my camera was out of focus. It just, even though the content really well, the videos and everything did not. So let's bring my little, so I tried to spend a little bit of time with this earlier to make sure I had it all set up right and working better, and then I set up this view of the inspection with the inspection camera and the camera above in frame. So let's keep it turned a little bit like this, move stuff down. Okay, so here in the upper part we can see, a face down view of it, and then you can see my lock pick that I'm using, and you can also see the key and stuff. And then the inspection camera is looking into the side so we can see all the disc, and it appears, I'm looking at my computer screen, and it appears like it's all focused, so that's a good thing. So let's take a look at this. And so first of all, basically all the discs are set up in one of these things, kind of like a little sleeve type thing that moves around in the lock, and they're just kind of stacked in there, and you can kind of see the edge of that right here. So obviously I cut into that as well, and into the body of the lock. And I'm going to say it didn't take much for a good milling machine and a nice sharp 1/2-inch cutter to get right into the middle of this lock. That's all we did. A friend of mine helped me basically just take a 1/2-inch cutter and just plowed it right through the middle of the lock here, right towards the, in the center of the lock, right towards the middle of it. And so this is the result. And so we did the body of the lock, and then I had it all apart, and then I took the sleeve part and did that. And so that little part there where the bar is, that would be where this cutout is on this thing. So we can see that's the cutout there. So obviously my fingernails are dirty, dang it. Anyway, yeah, I get a good inspection camera and you can see the dirt in your fingernails. Ignore the dirt in my nails. Anyway, so yeah, so I was basically just making a half moon shape type cut right through the center of this too. And so what we're looking at is all the discs lined up, and you can see how it's basically just a side view. Let me get a good disc over here. Here's one. So this is one of the, oops, maybe I should hold it with some tweezers so my fat fingers aren't in the way. So there's the little disc shape, and you can see how my little pointer too. So you can see how there's a little cutout right there. That's where the groove is. And then on the bottom you see this little stop type thing. And then of course you see the square cutout. So the pick is going to be going right into this square cutout to turn the disc. And so this disc will be sitting in here like this. And this little notch would be the gate that the bar falls into. The bar that's up at the top there. And then this back end part is basically keeps it from turning too far one way or the other. So that's why there's a cutout on this side of there. That's where those tail part of the disc is. That sits in there to keep it from going too far one way or the other. And then the other thing to notice is the first disc with these locks has a little tiny like bow tie look. So that corresponds to the profile of the key. So hopefully that all makes sense to you guys. It kind of gives you a little bit more detail. And so when we look at the lock itself, we can see all the disc up there, and then you'll see how with this lock there is a disc, and then there's a spacer, and a disc, spacer, disc, spacer, disc, spacer. And to show you what the spacers look like real quick. Gotta hold it right. Oops, I'm losing it. Okay, there we go. So there's what a spacer looks like. So basically, as you can tell, where my pointer go? Into my lap. Okay, so on the bottom part, that goes into that space in the bottom of the cylinder there, and then that little notch just goes on top. But that means that this spacer won't turn around in this lock, but since it is a large circle, obviously our pick or whatever we put in there can move around and maneuver just fine. And so when we take a look at this, see disc spacer, and sometimes you see a little notch there. So if I turn all the disc one way, you can see that sometimes the notch is lower. So let me make sure that I got all the discs turned. I'm going to turn them all. If I turn them clockwise, they're all on the outside of the lock, but if I turn it counterclockwise, you can see how all the notches are on this side of the lock. And obviously with the notch up higher, it doesn't take much to turn it to that position, and when it's down lower, it takes more to turn it. And so when we look at the key, see if we can get this up here, kind of correspond to that. See how the key has the different angles for the cuts. So obviously, but anyway, the steeper, the more angle there is in the cut, the more, the less it turns the lock. So this is kind of lined up with the discs. So you can see how these ones have less or little or no angle cut in it. Kind of a little bit of glare there, sorry about that. And you can kind of see how some of the cuts have little or no cut in it. So basically, if there's no angle, it's a 0 cut, and then the next one would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the further it's cut, more angle, the higher the number. And so this with this lock, these are actually, you know, these locks are really good locks to learn with anyway. Learn disc detainer lock picking. They're really good locks for doing that, but these particular locks have some really good bitting that help you learn quite a bit. And so, of course, this one disc here, how the notch is so far down, doesn't have much of an angle, so it takes a while for that, you know, the key needs to grab it sooner and then turn it all the way over to get under the bar. So anyway, and by the time you get to this one, that means that the key is turning all the way before it finally grabs that disc, because it doesn't need much to turn it the rest of the way. So then it finally grabs it and then moves it just a little ways. So hopefully that makes sense on how that bitting corresponds to those little notches in that lock. And it's already 14 minutes. Holy cow. Time is going by. I was hoping this wasn't going to be a long video, but so let me show you how the key works. So if I just put that key in there, and then as I turn it, hopefully that little bar, with this cutaway, it's kind of, the bar kind of gets a little fiddly sometimes because there's no material up here anymore, so it kind of likes to move around and be a little fiddly a little bit more than it would a normal lock. But anyway, so I put the key in there and turn it, and as I turn it, you can see how it's grabbing each one of those discs and starts turning the notches. Of course, it turned the zeros and ones and stuff first, and then the 6 finally, and then it moves all those notches underneath the bar. Gonna jiggle it a little bit to make sure the bar falls down in there. So then it falls down, the bar falls down into those notches, and then you can kind of see it go over the other side of the lock, and then finally it goes all the way around to the other side and into the lock, and that means that the lock can open now. And now what you're seeing now is the back side of the lock, where all those little tabs are to help keep it from turning too far. So you have those different ones, and then the spacers obviously fill up that whole void anyway. So you can see on the bottom here you have the disc, spacer, disc, spacer, disc, spacer, so on and so forth. So anyway, that's how that's all working, and obviously you can tell that the lock does work. Open, close. We got the camera up top to kind of show down view of it, and then the inspection camera gives us a close-up. Kind of making use of both the cameras here today. So we're going to take our Sparrow's lockpick, and the nose is set up for this Unity lock, and as far as where the flag hits these indicators on the side, the grid, it's pretty close. I haven't really adjusted it, so it is what it is. I'm not going to worry about adjusting it right now. So anyway, I'll make sure that all the discs are turned counterclockwise, which means I'm going to be turning all the discs clockwise, and I'll put the disc in so that it grabs the first disc, and then I'll tension that first disc. Kind of hard to see up top, but you can see there, at least we can see the inside. So then I'll take the tension, or the picking tip, and I'll push it. Right now the flag is kind of oriented, so it goes down the middle of all the disc right through the valley. So I go all the way to so I'm going all the way to this end of the lock with my picking tip, and I'm going to start with this disc here and then work my way out. I kind of figured that seems like it works the easiest with this cutaway. So I will turn my tip kind of sideways and pull it out until it stops, which means it's stopping on that first disc, and I'll turn it until it slides into the middle of the disc, and then I'll start turning that disc, and you can see me turning it. So obviously this cutaway feels different than a normal lock, and so I'm not really feeling anything right now, so I'm just kind of watching the camera to make sure I'm turning it right at the moment, because I can't feel anything. Just the way it is with the cutaway. Then I'm just kind of being really delicate with it to make sure I get it just right. That's the next disc, and so once I get that disc picked, then I'll pull it out and hit the next disc, and then of course turn it again until it slides into the center of the disc and grabs it, and then I can start turning. See how this one I have to turn quite a bit more until I get under there. Now to the next disc, start turning. I can start feeling a little bit more resistance now because of the way the bar is. Starting to feel like more like a normal pick now. we'll get that into that position. Now to the next disc, and as long as I don't slide off the disc, it's good. Okay, that one's picked. Now this one, you should be able to barely see it in the background, right in the side there. Now there we go on that one. So now I'm inside the lock picking the next disc, and this is really going to be where it's binding quite a bit. I went past it. Where is it? Yeah, it's not that one. Nope. Okay. Maybe I should pay attention to my lockpick to see what I'm doing. Okay, comes. Okay. Kind of lost my place a little bit, but we'll get there again. There we go. That's better. Okay, I think I found my place now. Okay. So this disc, there's a lot of tension on this one. And so we're turning that one. There we go. And that did it. Okay. And that is picked with this disc detainer pick. And so that is picked open. Let's switch back over to our other camera. And there we go. I guess we can zoom in with that camera now, our main camera. How come it's not focused? Ooh, this camera, sometimes it has trouble focusing. So anyway, there we go. It is picked open. So you can see how the bar has gone into the side of the lock. So that was our biggest thing that we wanted to do today, is we wanted to get that picked open, and I wanted to spend a little bit of time explaining how these disc detainer locks work so that we can kind of make sense of what's going on and pay attention to what I'm feeling. But the discs, this cutaway, it definitely helps you so that you can see what's going on, and once you visualize that in your mind and kind of see that, and then when I switch over to a regular lock, then I can take that and I can, for me, I basically can visualize from then on and kind of understand where it might be at and stuff, and how the tip might be oriented and stuff. And then once I get on the disc, the biggest difference is the feel. So once you get on the disc and you start turning it in a normal lock, with these ones, it feels like it's like two pieces of metal that are dragging together until finally it just slips right into the gate, and then you know it's set. So that's what I'm feeling when I'm going for this one. But anyway, after wow, 24 minutes. Wow, where'd the time go? Anyway, thank you very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoyed this cutaway. So the next time you see this cutaway is going to be in the hands of the Lockpicker 1969. So I'm going to go and take and box this up and send it on to him. Thank you everybody for watching. Make sure that you're subscribed, and you leave a big thumbs up, a big like, and definitely leave comments down below, and let me know and other people know what you think and what you like, and if there's anything you want to add, definitely leave comments down below. Thank you very much for watching, and have a wonderful day.